Great, members. So, till we have our guests joining, I want each of you to type in the chat box what are some of the thoughts that you have in mind as a entrepreneurship. Just type, what does it come to your mind when you say entrepreneurship? Challenge, okay. Yes, members, please type what comes to your mind when you say, think of the word entrepreneurship, because we are going to deep dive in this subject today with our expert. So before I give the stage to the expert, I want you to understand, okay? Independent for earning, okay? Change management, control, which product I need to choose while starting entrepreneurship, which line of business and arrangement of funds, okay? Good, great. Put in more ideas. Mindset change, wow, great. No clarity, okay. Within says no clarity. Stay on, we are going to have much more clarity. Yes, more thoughts, remember? Just type. See, we are not judging here you right or wrong. It's just trying to understand what the word denotes to you when you hear this word entrepreneurship. It will succeed or not. Lot of fear and insecurity, okay? I guess. I understand, Deepak. Right? Good. What else? I want each of you to type your thoughts. Because as Jogesh left with his word, when we say somebody that I'm a jobless or I don't know how the future looks like, then it's a matter of looking at the situation. Okay? Right. Some more comments I see. We can set our own timeline for the work. Great. Free from corporate world obligations. Yes. The activity of setting the business. Okay. Yes. Right. Yeah. Quite a few have quite diversified views. And yes, great to know that. Good. Great. So let's get on to the title of the topic. I have already our guest speaker on the screen. Let me just make him the co-host. 1 minute. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Lakur. Welcome.
Good morning. Very good morning. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And it is so nice to see that, people are already in action. That is what is entrepreneurship is about.
Yes. So let me share my thoughts. What entrepreneurship looks and what I understood few months back when after completing my almost 13 years of learning and development corporate experience, I took a sabbatical in 2014 to spend some quality time with my children. And so initial period was well and good, like a lot of activities were happening. But then there was a question mark, what next now? And that's where a lot of thoughts come in. So when I look at that period back again, the word as an entrepreneurship or starting something on own was like miles away. I mean, I was never thinking that I could do something on my own, or because there was a lot of job security and working with an corporate was there in my mind, which was not leaving me the thoughts and allowing me to enter into the web of entrepreneurship. And that's why I believe in 2018 when I met this our leader of the JJ community, Jogesh Jain, and when he made some ideas to me and that, oh, you are already doing a great work. Why don't you look at something from the area that you enjoy doing in your current time, because that will not stop you to work and also what you are doing. So that something really opened, and believe me, it took still few more months time to understand that, oh, I could be on my own, I could start my own academy, and I can share those expertise which I have gained over a period of time. So with that guidance and understanding, I could really understand that yes, this is something possible, doable. It's just that we need right kind of guidance, right kind of support, and a big change is a mindset change that requires. And to understand more about this subject, I would like to invite our guest speaker, Mr. Naveen Lakkur, today. Let me give you a brief about him. He is the founder of, he's a chief innovation coach, and he is running Institute of Inspiring Innovation. He is into this entire innovation industry for almost 25 years of experience, where he has helped many organizations to co-found various ideas and guided and helped the corporates and ideas basically to give an execution shape. That was the expertise with Mr. Naveen Lakkur bring in, building them, nurturing them, and taking them from the conception to the actual happening. And that's where I thought, when I said we would like to have you as a speaker, and then said, okay, the topic that I would love to talk about is hopping onto the entrepreneurship wagon. And for some time, I was like, okay, thinking like I was trying to grasp the topic, what exactly, and then he shared a lot of thoughts and ideas, and I said, yes, this is must for my community, and it's going to add a lot of insights, and the way people look at this entire term, I'm sure all of you are going to have a good understanding, and I will say a different understanding, and that's where I hand over now to Mr. Naveen Lakkur to take us through the understanding that how we can take this term entrepreneurship in the current time, where it's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, and lot of, I believe, complexities also there. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Good morning to everybody. This is an interesting starting. I would say that, the way you people have already started off even before time, So I thought I was ahead to join, but you're already in action. So it's very nice. This inspires me. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Very good. Okay. So I'll also plan to share my screen. So let me do that. So is my screen visible? Hello, is my screen visible, Rekha? I just need that confirmations just to
Yes,
ensure.
it's visible. Is it in full view?
Yeah, full view.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about hopping onto entrepreneurship wagon. So we will look at what does it mean, and how does it work. So I thought as part of our agenda today, hop onto entrepreneurship wagon. What exactly would it mean? Why entrepreneurship wagon? Then we'll look at few myths and few facts. Then a few essentials of what it means if you have to hop onto entrepreneurship wagon. What are a few essentials? Then opportunity landscape. I want to touch upon some of the opportunity landscape, and we'll take question and answers. So broadly, this is going to be our structure and agenda for today's session. So with that, I'm sure that why is a big question, right? So not just why, there are many other questions along with it. So how do you get on to it, and what does it look like? So when should I hop on? Should I or not? Who should hop on? And where is this wagon? And so many questions I'm sure you all have. And what I thought is, we are moving further with these questions. I wanted to ask you a question. Okay, so Rekha, can we have a poll? So let me start with a poll to ask. Let's ask one question to all our audience today.
Okay.
So it's a bonus. Well, you have so many questions already. I'm giving one question to you.
Is it entrepreneurship wagon look like?
Yeah, the very first one. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a few of the questions today. We'll run few polls just to get a feel and know how about what your feeling is.
I have launched it already.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Shoot your response. So, how does the entrepreneurship wagon look like for you? Is it something cool? Is it something which is scary? Or is it something which is risky? Or is it something stable? How does this entrepreneurship wagon look like for you?
Should I? Okay, let me know when to.
Yeah, there are people who are still participating.
Yeah.
So 71% of them have voted. Some of them are still thinking. So they're almost there. So I'm seeing some heavy response on one of them, and then then there are yeah. So go ahead. Looks like Rekha, you also need to vote.
Okay.
Okay. So very nice. Based on your response, I get to see 18% of them say that it is something cool, right? Entrepreneurship wagon should be cool. Then there is another 18% of them who say it is stable, like it is a sturdy, stable one, and 64% of them say that it is risky. Okay. Well, none of them say that it is scary. So good. So then it is nice. See, absolutely. I think there is no right or wrong. It is about what we feel. It's about our relatedness to this whole entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship wagon. So whatever is your choice, absolutely fine, and it is so true. It's just the perception, right? So with that perception, I think I'll end this poll. And okay. So I just wanted to share the results. Can we share the results with everybody? Okay. Then yeah. So that is how the results of this poll looks like today.
Yeah.
Very good. And can we have the next question? Another poll.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just. Yeah, we have the second poll.
On my screen. Okay, I got it now. Yes. So why should you consider hopping onto entrepreneurship wagon? It's a follow-up question. Whatever was your feeling, whether it was risky or whether it was stable or whether it was the option of that cool, but why would you like to hop onto entrepreneurship wagon? Let's see. One option is because of job security or job insecurity that you have, or it could be because of the freedom you think you would have. And is it because that somebody's lost their job and they're considering entrepreneurship wagon, or is it a great learning opportunity? Very nice, almost there. So anybody who's not voted yet, go ahead. Yes. Very nice. I think good response. Again, here I would say you could end the poll, Rekha, and show the results to people. Yep. So if you really look at whatever could be the state and the reason that you think you want to consider to hop on to entrepreneurship wagon, absolutely fine. For the simple reason, whether it could be job insecurity, or it could be for freedom, and or it could be because somebody has lost a job, or it is a great learning opportunity. I think there's no right or wrong here, but these are the few things that people would choose entrepreneurship wagon for, right? So can we stop this and yes, okay. Can we close the poll?
Do you want the third one?
No, not now. Can we close that window, please? Rekha, can you close the window of the poll?
Yeah. Fine. I've done.
Yeah, it's still visible for me. I don't know how. Should I stop sharing and then again share? On my window, the third one is showing.
From my end, it is closed.
It is okay. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Yeah, because you made me co-host. All those controls are also showing up. Oh, it is again popping up again for me.
Okay. Now I have now end the poll.
So, shall I share my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to draw some inspirations from shots of inspiration from my book by name A Little Extra. A Little Extra is all about the mindset, the mindset that is required for being that entrepreneur, or what does it mean to hop onto entrepreneurship. This provides inspiration and the right mindset. All right. So I'm going to be drawing some inspirations from this book. So, okay. So one of it is seeing a situation as a problem is ordinary. Seeing a situation as an opportunity is extraordinary, right? So here, it is important that we note those who have this entrepreneurial mindset. They would be looking this way. Actually, I've been both an entrepreneur and an employee. I've also worked in large corporates. One of it I would love to quote is that when I was referred to a company and I was meeting the vice president of a very large enterprise, and in a conversation, I said, when there is a problem, there's an opportunity. And he smiled and said, there's a lot of problems here. Would you want to take it up? In fact, they created a new role called issue manager in the whole of corporation. The first time they were creating a role of that kind. And my job was all about just look at the problems, what is there, and what can we do? How could we prevent that in the future? Because then we understood. I went through that and took that opportunity, worked for this large corporate, and realized that issue management is one level above risks. Actually, risks is not bad. So most of you chose that, entrepreneurship wagon would look risky, right? Which is fine. And just for our knowledge, risk is a positive thing, right? Risk is something where something is not gone wrong. And if risk is understood and it can be mitigated, then it is very good. So there is nothing called of no risk, right? Zero risk, there's nothing called like that. So it's just our perception. In reality, there is always some risk. Even going out during this COVID time, going out could be risky, but at the same time, would you stop going out? And if you go, then you take care of wearing the mask and sanitizing your hands, and also washing your hands with soap. All that are ways of mitigating the risk. The risk is there, but you continue to live. Same way, the risk is at one level, and the next level is issues. When a problem is already got created, you might know about it, you might not know about it. It's issue. If the problem is not handled well, or not left beyond the issue, then it goes into the next level of crisis. And in fact, pandemic current situation is a crisis situation, right? And you need different skills, different mindset, and a different way of handling that. That is at the level of crisis. And if crisis is not handled well, or not understood and responded well, it goes on to become a disaster, right? And disaster, the cost of it is very, very high to manage it, and definitely there will be some damage to the way it was. So why am I sharing this? First, for you to know that there is opportunity. So seeing a problem as a problem is ordinary, and seeing a situation as an opportunity is extraordinary. People with entrepreneurial mindset would look at that opportunity and see what can be done. So we can take a few examples of even currently during this time of COVID, when everything was locked down. There were few entrepreneurs who could come forward and think something new, and pivot or change because of their agility, the kind of impact that they are able to create, starting from the Swiggies to the Zomatos to many of these, which actually started catering to essentials. Even the Olas of the world, how they tied up with, for example, the Cloud9 hospital, where they took special extra care for sanitizing and taking a pregnant women to the hospital, for because of the pregnant women, they're more susceptible, and they wanted to take extra care, right? How that even coming together, organizing things, were all done by entrepreneurs. And these are young companies, and but they are changing the rules of the game today. The way we live is all getting changed. So seeing a situation as a problem is ordinary, seeing a situation as an opportunity is extraordinary. That's the way entrepreneurs think. This is one of the mindset, right? So another important thing that I thought might be worth for me to touch upon is having a job is ordinary. Having a job is ordinary. Providing jobs is extraordinary. Providing jobs is extraordinary. So here, if you look at, I have to tell you that ordinary is not bad. Okay. Having a job is very good. Not having a job rather than not doing any job, right? So, but a little extra here is about, can we think about how do we create jobs? How do we provide jobs to others, right? Entrepreneurship essentially is a very different game of thinking, and the way our mindset is about providing jobs, right? So one level, it might be risky, but at the same time, this is what is a big satisfaction. Another mindset: having a job is ordinary, providing jobs is extraordinary. So let me give you a few examples, right? Of those who have done this. For example, have you heard of this company called Rural Shores? Rural Shores is an interesting company started by an entrepreneur by name Murli Ulaganti. So he came from a small place in Andhra and then went on to do his master's in technology in BITS Pilani, and then went abroad like most of them did. He also went to the US, and then he was in the financial services side when he was in a job that was at Manhattan. And this is the central, the core part of New York, and the place is so expensive, probably the most expensive in the world. And their offices used to be there, and then he used to work from there, and then realized that why is that everybody coming and working from at Manhattan, which is very expensive? Why can't we leverage a little technology and do it at the suburbs of the city? So while the headquarters could be at Manhattan, but then in the suburbs we could have office, and teams could be there and working on software products or in the banking related technology development. Then they said that further, right? We all were a part of it. I used to work with Digital Global Soft, HP, and then Wipro. What we did is went outside and said, what you can do from there at a much lesser cost and even same quality, we will do it from here, from in India. Okay. And we used to go sing that song that we are snake charmers, we are mouse movers. So that is the kind of songs that we had to sing, and then bring it to India. And we could do it from our places like Bengaluru, Pune, Mumbai, or many of these cities, right? Delhi, Chennai, these all picked up, Hyderabad. And then came Murli's thought with, if you look at in cities, in Bangalore or in Mumbai or even in Hyderabad, a lot of people are coming from outside, from even villages, a lot of migration happening to these cities, urbanization happening, and they are not able to earn as much and save as much because of the cost of living. And they are away from family, their expenses are much higher. So what did they do? In fact, then they said, why not we train them and take jobs to the people rather than bringing people to jobs? So that is how Rural Shores got started. And this is an example, and then went on to become award-winning, Edison award-winning company, which is the second Indian company to have won Edison Award for social impact. 4,000 employees working, and from almost villages or small towns, so where not much of population, but jobs are taken there, and they are now catering to global clients. And now this model, they extended it in the US, and they've made it as People Shores. And today, during the crisis time, when others are all losing jobs, here is a company and an example that where they are hiring people because the trend is changed. And in India, this is going to be one of the biggest movement where work from home has started, but the bigger stuff is going to happen by working from small towns. So the lot of new jobs are going to get created there. And in Rural Shores, one example I would like to give, there were several of them who were in big cities like Mumbai and Pune, Hyderabad, Bangalore. So they had come from their villages and they had settled here with some experience. And even for a little lesser salary, they were very happy if there was an opportunity to work from their hometowns. So some people have gone back to their hometowns, and they've been instrumental in taking new opportunity there and taking new positions, senior positions, because they already had some work experience of related work experience, and they're doing it from their hometowns. So one example of an entrepreneurial venture which revolutionized, and now the realization, and even from the government, and many initiatives would be there as a support to enhance these entrepreneurial ventures from rural places, from smaller towns, the tech, non-tech, several companies, several initiatives is going to happen. The processing, the BPOs, they're all going to move to the rural side of India, right? Big opportunity, and those who have some experience, and if they belong to those kind of towns, nothing like it. You get to stay with the family, at the same time you have a new job and a more responsible job and an impact to create, right? So another example to give is of ID. Have you heard of this ID? Any of you would have bought this dosa barter or the vada barter, or some of these ready to cook kind of items. And this is a young, interesting boy. His name is Mustafa. He comes from a small place in Kerala by name Wayanad. And so but he is a entrepreneurial thinking, but family does not have any exposure to much education, no business exposure, but he chose to become an entrepreneur from a very humble, ordinary family, does not have any backing, and went on during this time of even crisis, COVID time. First few days everybody had lockdown, right? But then they realized that they belong to the food industry, and the packing, everything which is there ready to cook, many of them would need it, so it belonged to the essentials. Then they could apply for that essentials approval, and they got it. And while everybody is shut and struggling, here is a company, an entrepreneurial venture, which grew business 4 times during this lockdown, right? And their people are all working, and they were able to mobilize resources, look at how they could think on their feet and help create something. In fact, a very interesting story of this Mustafa, that he one day they were wanting to visit Bannerghatta National Park in outside of Bangalore. So they were traveling. On the left side, they saw a campus of Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. So he wanted to go inside, but didn't have the courage. What will they allow or not? But he later felt, management, it's a premium institute in India, so I should be studying and using those concepts. And then for 2 years he works very hard, because he was not very logical thinking person. So here entrance exams are so much based on logic, and he felt additional education would help him. And he's still a young boy, so then he cuts through the exam, joins there, and recently his name is also shown as in the on the wall of fame. And it is one of those rare things, and I think he got that honor awarded from Mr. Mukesh Ambani, who himself used to be the chairman of the institute some time ago. So it's what a journey, if you see, right? So giving an example is ordinary, being an example is extraordinary. In fact, here amongst us, right here, Rekha is an example. So she was telling, entrepreneurship was very far away for her. But then when she started, out of whatever, be it compulsion or she had taken a break, she was just trying, exploring. And in the meantime, she got some guidance and support. And she is now passionate, so passionate that ups and downs would be there. It's not an easy thing. Ask her and she will have a list of the challenges that she would be going through. But every evening, it's happened to me as an entrepreneur, when I was I was working abroad in Malaysia, and then came back to India and wanted to start on my own, because I wanted that freedom. Some of you chose that as a choice, right? As to why you think you want to hop onto entrepreneurship wagon. So so there, if you see, that freedom, what is required, it was able to provide. And but every day it was a struggle. Okay, so I used to in the evening think, what did I do? I should have see some of my friends who studied along with me. They are in Wipro, they are in HPs and big companies, or gone abroad, and I was abroad working outside, came back and started, and every day is a struggle. And next day morning I wake up, evening I would have slept saying, I should have gone to some job. The next day morning I wake up, I'm again charged, saying, let me try this, let me do that. So that whole enthusiasm, and every morning I'll be charged again, so there's no problem. And we used to wear different hats, from sweeping to the CEO one man show, right? So we would do that, whatever it takes, right? Those are all the attitude, which is what makes a person take up this entrepreneurial wagon. And if we hop into it, we should be willing to do all those, and not just give examples. Can we become an example to others, right? So that is what this entrepreneurship wagon and the mindset should be. So with those examples given, let me move to one of those things, right? So this is how I think many of them would conceptualize their wagon to be. Entrepreneurship wagon is a cool thing. It's a powerful machine, and cool at the same time, very sophisticated, posh. These are all some of those attributes which would be there, right? Rekha, can we have a poll, the third poll? Let's see what our members got to say. So what does it mean for you if you have to hop onto entrepreneurship wagon? Is it because...
I have opened the poll. Is it
yeah,
working?
It is visible. It is visible. Yeah. So people are yet to vote. So being a founder, is it because you want to be a founder? Or entrepreneurship could also mean become a co-founder? Entrepreneurship would also, wagon would mean, entrepreneurship would mean that you can be a core team member, or it could be being a team member. I don't think so anybody is voting. So
no, I think I have relaunched it. Yeah. They are now able to select.
Yes.
Okay, now I think you should be able to select.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah, mostly field founder.
Yeah. So very nice to see almost 92% of them saying, entrepreneurship to them, hopping on to entrepreneurship wagon to them means, is being a founder. And only 8% says being a part of a core team. Very nice. So this is a feel. I just wanted to get a feel of it. So those who think it is about, can we close this poll?
Yeah, share the result. Yeah. Stop share results. I'll stop the share result.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you also close that window? Or otherwise I'll have to stop sharing and then again do this.
Yeah, I have closed from my end.
Okay. Then I have to, it's not going off my screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So for those, most of you are choosing that, it is being a founder. So I think it is important for us to understand what does it mean then, right? So a lot of them perceive the entrepreneurship wagon to be like this: posh, cool, trendy, and it's a big shot. All those are some attributes in the way people would relate, right? In reality, this is how the entrepreneurship wagon looks like. Interesting. Yeah, it is, right? Actually, it is now, if you compare with the other one, there it was much easy to ride because there is a navigation system, there's a flat road out there, there is signals, and, you could manage a lot easier. But if you really look at what does it mean, the wagon would look like this. It is, now you can see what is the risk associated. There is, don't know what kind of fishes are there below. It could be even sharks out there. And you need to know swimming. Entrepreneurship is like swimming. If you want to really learn, you have to get into water. You can't read many books, and you have to experience it. You have to get into the water, right? So similarly here, the wagon looks like this. The control systems, the GPS, and all of these are, very vague, and it is not known. So you'll have to explore, you'll have to control, you'll have to manage it, right? So there is, it's a different talent, and it is adventurous. Actually, it is cool. So if you really look at this, the thrill, if you see, is higher here, right? So those are the good things. And even if you fall, it is, you'll have to figure out how to come out of it, right? So, and yet be taking that risk. Otherwise, you'll never reach the other side of the shore. So you'll only be stuck at your place, right? So with that as a backdrop, I want you to move to this, few myths and few facts. I've already shared few facts and a few myths, but let me run another poll for you. So, Rekha, can we run another poll? Rekha, can you run the other poll? Yeah.
Yeah, I have made it.
What is the most important for the entrepreneurship venture to succeed? Is it the idea? Is it the execution? Is it the team? Is it the timing? Okay. So pretty interesting results here. None of them say it is idea. It is 83% of them say it's execution, and 8% say it is a team, and another 8% says it is timing. Very nice. Actually, one of the, here a few myths and a few facts, right? So Rekha, you could show the results and close the poll.
Yeah, I've shown the result.
Yeah. So many of the entrepreneurs think that, idea is everything. And whereas investors and in reality, execution matters a lot. And you all, maybe most of you coming from, work background, you are able to recognize, how execution plays a big role. Very good. And then the team matters a lot. The execution amongst the top 10 things which matters for the success of an entrepreneurial venture, the team is also among the top 5. Okay. And interestingly, the number one for the success factor has been timing. Okay. The number one in the world. WhatsApp is one good example. I'm sure all of us have been using it. Only 56 members team, $19 billion of valuation when Facebook acquired them. Okay, they did not even have revenues, but they had an idea. They executed it very well. They had a good team, but it's the timing which got them that value. Because the timing, if you see, is messaging was not new. It was already there as a technology and as a concept, as an idea, right? And if you look at, if you see that in internet was already there, mobile was already there, but combination of it and the penetration, that is when just one small feature of even group creation and chatting, which was not available on the SMS, the mobile phones which provided that technology, did not have. Just that small innovation, but at the same time, it is the business model innovation and the timing which mattered a lot there. And see what was the result, right? So all of these are important. At the same time, the weightage are different, and you all have been voting execution, so the team matters quite a bit for that execution, right? So can we close this poll?
Yeah, I have closed it from my end.
Okay, then
Okay.
looks like I have to.
Somebody's unmute. Can I request to just a minute? Mute. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So hopping on to entrepreneurship, would mean, the poll that we took, right? So where you understand the importance of all four of them. Yes. Okay. So some more facts. I just wanted you to also know that hopping onto entrepreneurship wagon would not mean necessarily you start your own startup. Okay, that is one of the choices. In the previous poll, you understood that other ways of associating with entrepreneurship wagon is being a co-founder. You could be part of a core team or a team member, right? So all of these are also meaningfully associating whichever suits you, and based on the idea, based on your circumstances, there are other opportunities. It's just not about you have to go and do on your own, right? So and those opportunities should not be missed, and that is where the big wave is already there and going to continue, especially during this challenging times. It's going to be there. So some facts for you. This is by survey by Fortune magazine, and they have interviewed Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs of those companies, and some of these results. But I want to bring attention to two of them. Well, I'm sure you've been looking at this. So one of it is, when will at least 90% of workforce have returned to their usual workplace? When will that happen? If you really look at, so 26% of them say it will never happen. It won't happen the same way, right? And if you look at the next large number is on 20%, which is Jan 2021. And some of them are thinking it is going to be June 2021. Okay, so that is the next highest, 17 point odd percent. So the dynamics are changing. Okay, this is because of the COVID invasion. The dynamics at the workplace is going to be changing. Okay, so majority say it won't even come back the same way. So how do we handle that? At the same time, another important finding here, as a fact, based on the survey, is the question which says, have you laid off the workforce in response to the crisis, the current crisis that we are facing? Have you laid off? If you see, no layoffs is 48.9%. So here, I'm happy none of you are considering to even get into entrepreneurship wagon because of the fear of our lost jobs, right? Maybe there is that insecurity, but at the same time, the passion, that freedom that you were thinking of could be the better options as to why you want to, if you want to become. And not just as an entrepreneur, but the landscape is larger when it comes to becoming maybe even a co-founder or a core team member. So those opportunities are also bigger. Okay, so some facts. Some who chose that freedom is the main thing. I used to think a lot of them say that you are your own boss. If you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss. Only when you become one, you will understand that you are actually slave of everybody. So you're the boss of your own, and you're the slave of everybody, right? You need to take care of your customers, your employees, your vendors, all of the other stakeholders, your investors. So it's very important that we understand that it's a myth. So the real fact is that you are serving everybody, right? So another important thing as a fact that I would present is that close to 91% of the startups don't survive. 91% of the startups don't survive. Only 9% survive, and only 1% of it becomes large enterprise. On the other hand, there is the solopreneurs, the lot of opportunities now in the US. If you see, many of them who would have been losing jobs, but also they have this consulting mindset. They have their freedom, they are their own boss, yet they engage. It's like working but not as an employee. And you have the freedom, at the same time you have some visibility, and you have the special skills, right? So that is how you could also be considering. That is again part of your opportunity landscape. And um, so what does it really take to move, right? So with these few facts and myths, let me talk about few essentials. I think one of the most important essential is ability to innovate. So ability to innovate. The second is the right skills being developed such that it meets the opportunities. The current opportunities it should meet. The skills which meets the current opportunity is an essential, right? The third is ability to creatively solve problems. And in fact, in the large corporates too, these are the things that they are looking for from people, right? How do you, the capacity or the competency to innovate, the competency or the skills meeting the opportunities, and ability to solve problems. These are the top three requirements. And one important aspect I would like to bring here and stress upon is this mindset, entrepreneur mindset is required even in large corporates. So that is how entrepreneurs are born. So people who have this entrepreneurial mindset, but within the company, they're able to take a new initiative and build it, right? And having those skills and interest to make it happen, right? So even as students, it's important that for strategic initiatives, if we want to be in a large corporate, become an entrepreneur, or even be part of core teams, they are looking at people who can take strategic initiatives. So these are few or the top three essentials that I talk about. And with that, I will quickly mention that when I did say innovation, a lot of them might think, oh, innovation, not for me. I don't know what it means and how. So in simple terms, innovation would mean that, doing something better, whatever you're doing, if you can do something better, or if you can do something different, or create something new, as simple as that. If you could, make something better, do something different, or create something new, as simple as that is what innovation is. And to help you in i3 model that we've created for enabling entrepreneurship, innovation is at the core. And it has three phases. This journey would have three phases. The phase one of inspiration. and phase 2 is of ideation, and the phase 3 is of incubation. So inspiration is pretty vague, and this is how this wagon looks like. It's could be like a cycle, could be whatever. It is up to you to imagine and relate, but will definitely help you. But this is the phase where you have a purpose, you have a problem identified that is worth solving, right? So with that, I would like to refer to this book of mine by name Inseparable Twins. This is the book as a resource to inspire innovation and entrepreneurship. And even within the large companies, if you want to take new initiatives, you need to understand what it means. And here, this is about Inseparable Twins is to power people, purpose, and performance. There are many interesting stories, nuggets, and parables and characters which will inspire you and making it light for you, right? So this is Inseparable Twins to inspire innovation and entrepreneurship. And the second phase is ideation. Ideation is all about science and the art. It is the process of generating many ideas and picking one idea which has higher winning potential, because not all ideas have business in it. How do you take and choose an idea which has higher winning potential and which has business in it, right? So that is ideation for you. And here is a reference book if you would wish to learn more, understand more about, this is a book by name Found, and this is incidentally a 4 international award-winning book. It's been ranked as the best book in entrepreneurship category in USA. And here it has 3 intellectual properties of mine which I've created, and these are based on the practice, so which should help you in terms of generating ideas, validating ideas. How do you pick an idea? It's a 5-part framework, and that's Found is all about. It's a science of ideation which will guide you as a 5-part framework, guide you to find your winning idea. And the third phase, as I mentioned, is incubation. Now you've got that idea and you need to build. This is where the execution comes into play. As incubation, all the other parts need to come and associate with this core idea, be it like revenue and investments, or naming and branding, or team and advisor, or research and product, or sales and traction, or legal and IP. These are all the different kind of things. It's like our 2 eyes, 2 hands, 2 noses, 2 nostrils, and all coming together, making that whole body as and taking birth, right? So coming out and to live its own life. That is when the operations would start, right? So with that, I just want to touch on opportunity landscape, a path worth experiencing. Again, I want to reiterate, opportunity landscape in terms of hopping onto entrepreneurship wagon does not limit to be the founder. It could be, the second one could be, you could also become a co-founder where somebody else has an idea, it is worthwhile, and they need that strong member complementing with the skills and coming together. Or the opportunity, see, today I think MSMEs are going to take a big leap and lead to cater to the whole world. There's a huge opportunity of exports which is going to come to India post this COVID season, and nowhere else we have this kind of manpower, and everybody else needs. And here we are uniquely placed both to be consumer and also to be producers, and producing and catering to the whole world, right? So phenomenal opportunity. And the rural employment that I was talking about is another large opportunity, right? And are we ready to ride that wave? Are we skilled enough for that? Or are we taking new initiatives? Are we associating some of these startups, which has already started and working? They need right set of people. You could be a core member. Like it could give you a career growth. Well, the large corporates, most of them are reducing jobs and no new hiring opportunities. But whereas the startups, the funded startups And growing startups today, they have right solutions to cater to the market. They're all hiring, and they need right set of people, and there could be a good career growth, but the mindset has to be there. Are we understanding, seeing that opportunity? It's not going to be easy, because the path is not easy. It's not a flat road, and lots of mountains, but it's beautiful too. If you really see from that angle and that perception, I think you should enjoy the journey, because journey is the reward. And it's easy to say, right, than done. So if it was easy to do, everybody would have. But that is where even eagles need a push. So thanks to Rekha, that she is taking that little special effort to wanting to support those people, because having jumped into entrepreneurship herself, and going through the challenges, she knows how the ecosystem, the support system is so required, and catalysts, all that plays a big role. So easier said than done, but here are some examples as to why somebody should consider, but not consider just to start their own. It could be even associating with a startup. I mean, see what is the right match to your skills and the situation. Okay. And your entrepreneurship wagon could look like this, right? It could be because Mumbaikars, they understand and appreciate and dependency on train a lot, right? So, but there is a lot of lessons that this is teaching us. Make human values as your track, as your path, right? If you are jumping into entrepreneurship wagon, you should understand these few fundamentals, which could help you a big way. And make technology as your wheels, right? Today, all scalable models, organizations which is scaling is all based on technology. Technology is an enabler today, right? And make finance your fuel, and innovation as your engine. So, and the coach is your customer, right? Learn from the customer, and have enough coaches such that you ferry as many passengers as possible, as many customers that you can cater to. That's when business becomes meaningful. So with that, actually, we are just about to hit 12 o'clock, 1 minute left. I don't know how much time you would have for a question and answers, but I'm done with my presentation. So thank you very much. Love you all, and best wishes for your wagon of entrepreneurship and the journey that you would like to have in your life and career. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Naveen. That has been really wonderful. Insights, the analogies, and it's worth exploring. That's what I understand. We have one question from Ms. Sonia. Says, are there any communities that you can suggest where founders, startups look for co-founders or other core team members?
Yeah, actually, this is where networking plays a big role. They have to be part of the communities, and entrepreneur cells are there. Like, for example, Mumbai, even in IIT Mumbai, they have an entrepreneur cell which is very active, and they keep looking for people, industry practitioners, and so on. So where if you really get some exposure to those, that is one. And even on online, there are platforms where you could, including LinkedIn, how well you are tracking, where are you showing your interest. So there are, and participating in meetups. There are meetups for co-founder meetups are there, core member meetups are there, and subject matter specialties meetups keep happening. It's very popular in Bangalore. Physically, it used to happen, but now because of the COVID, I think a lot of virtual ones are happening. So either which way, they need right set of people. So and it's a good question. You'll have to be part of these networks, both virtual and physical. There are many platforms, entrepreneur cells, then networking events happen. So people should show up there.
Right. Thank you very much. We have one more question from Mr. Deepak. After looking COVID era, no one is secure regarding its job. I just wanting to start up my agriculture farming, organic farming. But again, I'm also having a fear and insecurity that what will if it unsucceed and then what to be.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think very valid. And I have to congratulate the idea that or the sector that is chosen, if that is your passion. And there is a way to validate that ideas, as I said in the book Found. But as a sector, organic farming and this one is an essential. It's a fantastic thing, be it during this COVID or even beyond. And I would like to quote, one of this entrepreneur who used to be a professional in working in USA and doing very well in technology. Okay, and he comes from Mandya, a place by name Mandya, which is between Bangalore and Mysore. Okay, and this guy said, farmer at heart, and but technology specialist, and he was settled in the US. And then he saw the plight of people of where once upon a time Mandya, the farmers used to be the richest, and so much of respect. Now people were suiciding and not having enough to, but it's the same place, so beautiful thing. So he came back, decided to come back. It was not easy for him to take that plunge, but now you should see the kind of work that he's doing, creating fantastic models. He's using technology and also bringing ancient wisdom and science of India. And recently he announced that he's going to create agriculture park like Disney World. It is going to be like a Disney World. So number of people who are already coming forward to support and all, and he's already made this organic market, helping the farmers produce and also taking that to market, on the distribution side. So he's already solved those problems and fantastic results. So he had to take a plunge until he decided. He was contemplating on it for a long time, sitting in USA and with a cushy job earning in dollars. But unless he really made his hands dirty, came to Mandya, put his hands into the mud. Today, he's a very successful entrepreneur, fantastic role model, and is an inspiration. And the kind of new projects he's launching is mind-boggling and very required in India. So it's all about, if you really want to, you will have to take a plunge. And or there are ways of doing it as the other ways, right? It could be a hobby idea or it could be an entrepreneurial idea, but you'll have to progress that idea, and then maybe figure out ways to monetize.
Right. I think that's a very good example. Even recently, I've heard about some of the colleagues who have been working in pharmaceutical organization. They have decided, and some of them went back to their hometown and started the local product business, and they are finding it quite exciting and enriching, as you said rightly, getting back to your roots, connecting with family, and also being engaged and serving to the society. So a lot of purposes are being served. If what it requires, I believe, is to take that decision and that passion, which is going to lead them ahead amidst all the fear, uncertainty, and challenges, I believe.
And it's very easy to relate. If you know, the wagon is that tepa, that a little boat, and that is what it is. Then you will have to do your planning accordingly. The risk mitigation plan, the financial plan. If one of the spouse is working, then to a great extent that it is mitigated. But if it is both of them are entrepreneurs, both of them are starting, then or only one breadwinner, then how do you plan it? Or you could be associated with a startup, but not necessarily you'll have to put money and fund it and all, right? Those are other options. Be a part of the core team, and can you find and largest number of job opportunities are going to be created through entrepreneurship. And even if you look at developed countries, it is the entrepreneurship which has made a country developed country, right? USA or many European countries are that way. So India, that is the phase that India needs to go through. It is the entrepreneurs who would make India from a developing country to a developed country.
Right. So we have a question from Mr. Deepak. Kindly guide regarding organic entrepreneurship firm who are helping to launch it, because I will be new to this field if possible. So
what is this? Sorry.
Mr. Deepak is saying kindly guide regarding organic entrepreneurship firm who are helping to launch it, because I will be new to this field if possible.
Sure. Oh.
What I suggest is if you can put your connect, and if you would like to understand more in detail, and if you have any information, you can share it. Unless
on LinkedIn there are some, and they could also follow me on LinkedIn. I keep sharing, and even including some connections could, or we also do coaching for those aspiring entrepreneurs on specific areas. So and also validating ideas. These are all specific coaching engagements that we associate with aspiring entrepreneurs, and for even corporates, right? Where they take up a new initiative and they need guidance and support. And having gone through being a catalyst for more than 250 ideas to have become commercial realities, and as a serial entrepreneur, I've learned this has come, and where models are there to see how to make that journey much better, smoother, and so on. So on a case-to-case basis, whoever would need that professional association, we are open for that, and they can reach out. Else, they can follow on LinkedIn, where we share a lot of information, including examples and entrepreneurs and their connections, so they could utilize that.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It has been. Is there any other question before we close the session today? Right.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And Rekha, thanks for organizing this and inviting me to be interacting with your group of people and on this topic, which is like, hopping onto entrepreneurship wagon. So I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else did, and they learned something out of this session. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much for coming and sharing your thoughts and ideas. And we have definitely taken away some good insights. Thank you again. Thank you all the members for joining the session.